Behnam Ben Taleblu is the senior director of the Iran program at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and he joins me now. Behnam, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So you have the president's actions and his words here, and his actions are maximum sanctions pressure and increased military presence in the region. But his words are diplomacy. Let's try and negotiate and talk this out for the sake of both of our countries. So with that as the backdrop, what are your expectations for round 2 nuclear talks, and if a nuclear deal with Iran is even possible?
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you, Carly. It's a great question because in term 1, the president also put Iran to the choice between his actions and his words. And he offered the Islamic Republic an off-ramp, but at the same time used maximum pressure, supported the Iranian people, and even was willing to pull the trigger against Iran's chief terrorist, Qasem Soleimani, when two previous American presidents were not. So looking forward to Rome now, what really will determine success, and if the president will have a good legacy on this, is the framework of a deal that he offers, and that'll be up to his chief negotiator, Steve Witkoff. If the framework is closer to the 2013 and 2015 Obama-era nuclear deals that kicks the can down the road, well, the president is not going to look great on this one, particularly because that's exactly what Iran is trying to put him into, that trap. Instead, if the president retains his dismantlement framework as articulated by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth or National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, well, then certainly he's going to come out of this looking good. But no doubt it's going to take much more than just Saturday to negotiate a deal, whether it's a good deal or a bad deal.
But how do we get there, Behnam, where Iran agrees to give up their nuclear program in a way that could be verifiable for us in the United States?
Well, now, no doubt, it's very, very tough. When it comes to verification, that's a combination of what the U.S. intelligence agencies can provide, but also critically and more importantly on the ground with the International Atomic Energy Agency. And that's why the president needs to have the back of the IAEA in Vienna and make sure that they're fully empowered to go anywhere, anytime, to inspect both Iran's nuclear sites and military sites. And that's something that Iran has been trimming as it's been growing its nuclear program. To support this institution, the president can actually bring meaningful pressure, meaningful economic, political, and even military pressure against the Islamic Republic. You know, this is a president that means what he says when he says he's not going to let the regime get a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, and he just sanctioned that Chinese company for importing Iranian oil. So sanctions pressure continuing to ramp up as these negotiations go on. Let's move over to the Russia-Ukraine war, because there's new comments by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He just suggested that the United States could walk away from negotiations if progress isn't made. Watch this.
We need to figure out here now, within a matter of days, whether this is doable in the short term. Because if it's not, then I think we're just going to move on from our perspective. That the president feels very strongly about that. He has dedicated a lot of time and energy to this, and there are a lot of things going on in the world right now that we need to be focused on.
I mean, that is a huge statement from the Secretary of State. Where do you see this going?
It's huge and it's critical, and believe it or not, it's connected, because Russia and Iran are part of this newfound axis of aggressors or axis of authoritarians that are increasingly challenging American power in their respective regions. And it's critical because if the president pushes away from the table on this and proves to the world, not just to President Putin, that he's willing to walk away, it certainly adds a lot more credibility that he has exit options in all sorts of negotiations, and he's going to be also putting Vladimir Putin and the rest of the Russian political class and military class to the choice. So I would not underestimate that threat.
Behnam Ben Taleblu, thank you so much for joining us this morning.